me going over the practice tests. I'll just be creating solutions here, so you can just check your solutions while making this video. I also upload a PDF version, so you can just read it off instead of watching the video instead. But I would recommend just doing both at the same time, okay? So question one, convert the following to the metric units in brackets. So I have 3.5 kilometers and I need to convert it to meters. So just go to your like little cheat sheet here and I need to convert from kilometers to meters. So as I can see, I need to multiply by 1,000. So that's just all I'm going to do. So I'll just do 3.5 times 1,000. And if you type that in your calculator, you should get 3,500 meters. Okay. Part B, I need to convert from milliliters to liters. Um, just try and find it in your cheat sheet somewhere. If I remember correctly, it's you just divide by 1,000 instead, and you end up with 2.6 liters. And now, part C, I've got 4.3 meters squared. Need to convert that to centimeters squared. Let's just find it. Let's see. Let's just find it somewhere. Here we go. So, what was it that we needed? Meters to centimeters squared. So that's times 100 squared, okay? So what you'll do is you just write 4.3 times 100 squared. And if you type that exactly in your calculator, you get 43,000. Now I'm converting from kilometers squared to meters squared. So let's just refer back here. I need to times by 1,000 squared. So it'll be 0.0025 times 1,000 squared. And if I type down my calculator, 2,500. So 2,500 meters squared. So that's how you would approach question one, okay? A rectangle with length 8.6 centimeters and width 5.4 centimeters is given. Draw a diagram with side lengths labeled. Okay, so this is where you'll be using a ruler. It's pretty obvious. Just use your ruler. Just draw any rectangle. Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be accurate. Okay, just draw something like this. Okay. So I have length 8.6 centimeters, 5.4 centimeters, 8.6, and 5.4 centimeters. All right. Part B, find the perimeter of the rectangle. So the perimeter is just basically the distance around the shape. Okay. So you're just going to add up all these numbers 8.6 plus 5.4 plus 8.6 plus 5.4. And if you type this all into your calculator, I end up with 28. So your answer is 28 centimeters. Okay. So it's 1 mark for writing this and then another mark for the answer. Okay. Mm. All right. Question three. Draw a diagram and find the area of the following shapes. Round your answers to two decimal places. So I always like to highlight key info. Okay. And that's quite big. Here we go. So I always bring a highlighter, okay, or just bring a different color pen just so you can underline stuff, especially like key information, okay? Now it also tells me to draw a diagram. Okay. And then find the area. So those are like the key bits right there. So in part A, we have a triangle with base 12 centimeters and height 9 centimeters. So you can just draw any random triangle and then just label it. So we know the base here is 12 centimeters. And if you really wanted to, with your ruler, you can just draw a dotted line down. And this is going to be 9 centimeters. The next step is to find the area of a triangle. So the formula for area of a triangle is base times height over 2. Now, if you don't remember it, just refer back to your cheat sheet. It is right here. So this is your formula right there. Base times height divided by 2. Now I know what my base is. I know what my height is. I'm just going to substitute the values in. 12 times 9 over 2. And if you type this in your calculator, 54. 54. Now, don't forget at the end, you need to put in centimeters. And then at the very end, you need to put in squared, okay? So it is 1 mark for diagram, 1 mark for the formula and substituting, and then 1 mark for the answers, just like that, okay? Parallelogram with base 7.2 meters and perpendicular height of 3.5. So if you don't know what it looks like, just go back to your cheat sheet. Should look like this, okay? It looks like a rectangle that's been slanted. So that's pretty easy to draw. Just draw something roughly. You don't need to make it accurate, okay? As long as it looks somewhat similar. So it is 7.2 meters. And then you can have your perpendicular height be 3.5 meters. Perpendicular height has a right angle triangle. So now you just write the area for parallelogram, which is base times height. Substitute the values in. And then, oh, that's not the right one. 25.2 meters squared. Okay. So this it'll be 1 mark for diagram, 1 mark for formula, 1 mark for answer. Trapezium with parallel sides of 5 and 7 centimeters and a height of 4 centimeters. Okay, so you can just draw a parallelogram like this. Please use a ruler, okay? A ruler will help a lot. Just makes your lines nice and straight. Well, what's going on? Uh, Something's wrong here. Draw something similar. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, okay? As long as it looks like a trapezium, you'll be fine. Now the parallel sides of 5 and 7 centimeters. So these here are the parallel sides. So because the bottom one is longer, I'm going to label that as 7, and the line above is 5 centimeters. And then it says here we have a height of 4 centimeters, something like that. 4 centimeters. Okay. Now, formula for a trapezium is a plus b times height divided by 2. So I would say find this first, find the numerator first. Okay. So let's just substitute the values in. So we have 5 plus 7 times 4 divided by 2. This equals to 12 times 4 over 2, similar to 48 over 2, which equals to 24 centimeters squared. So it is 1 mark for diagram, 1 mark for formula, and doing all of this right, and then 1 mark for answer, okay? Please don't forget your units of measurements. You'll get a mark deducted, okay? So please don't do that. Alright. And we have here a circle. Let's see here, insert. Let's draw a circle. Doesn't have to be the greatest, okay? As long as you draw it in, it should be fine. And it says here with a radius of 7 centimeters, okay? Okay. So our formula for area of a circle is pi r squared. And we are already given the radius, so we can just substitute our value of 7 in. This gives us 49 pi. And if we type that inside the calculator and press the double arrow button, it gives me 153.94 centimeters squared. Now let's just refer back to our question here. Mm. The question here is asking us to round our answers to 2 decimal places. So as you can see, what I did here was wrong. It was a full number. So just write it as 54.00 centimeters squared. Okay. Over here, I'm gonna write. Oh, this is wrong. 25.20 25.20. And over here, it says here 24. Just bring that down. 24.00 centimeters squared. Okay. Now, obviously, you'll have more room to work with, so you should be fine. Okay. Let's just carry on. All right. A circular garden has a radius of 7 meters. A gardener plans to section off the garden and keep 140 degrees. Okay, this just means 140 degrees of the garden. Find the area of the gardener plans to keep. Okay, find the area. Round answer to 2 decimal places. Okay, so now, if I wanted to, I could just draw a diagram, but it doesn't really matter in this case. You don't need to draw a diagram. It's a 2 mark question and it doesn't mention to draw the diagram anyway. So you could just start off by writing the formula for area of a sector is angle over 360 times pi r squared. That's 1 mark right there. Okay. Now you can just substitute your values in. So we know the angle is 140 degrees. So 140 over 360 times pi. And then we're given the radius already. Radius is 7 meters. And if we type this in exactly into the calculator, it gives me 59.86. 86 meters squared. So that is the area that the gardener plans to keep. Okay. Now, part B tells us the gardener plans to use the remaining space to make a koi fish pond, calculate the area the gardener will have. So there's two ways you can do it, okay? You can just find the area of that specific sector, or you could find the area of the full circle and then subtract it from your answer in part A, okay? So there's, I'll see if I can fit both methods here. So first off, you're going to do 360 minus 140, which equals to 220 degrees. And then you just find area of koi equals to 220 over 360 times pi 7 squared, which equals to, let's see here, 94.07. Or you can do this method here. Hold on. You find the area of the full garden, so which is just pi r squared. 153.93, no, 94. Okay. And then you just subtract it. Okay. Garden minus of area of part A. So that'll be 153.94 minus, let's see here, 59.86. And if you do that, gives me 94.87, okay? So they end up being the same answer, okay? Now, obviously, method one's just 10 times easier, so I would recommend that one instead, okay? Let's see. A rectangular prism has length 5, width 2.4, and height 3. Find the volume. So I would refer to my formula on volume of a rectangular prism, which is this one right here, okay? So length times width times height. So V equals length times width times height. So that's just 1 mark for recognizing that, and then just substituting and finding the answer. 36. Now 36 meters, and because we're dealing with volume, it needs to be cubed. Okay? So that's another mark right there. Oh yeah, I gotta count the markings here as well. So over here on my previous slide, that's 1 mark, 1 mark, 1 mark. Over here, it's 1 mark for the formula, 1 mark for the answer here. Now for this one, it'll be 1 mark for finding the angle, and then 1 mark for the answer. And then if you were to do the other method, this will be considered 1 mark, and just all of this will be 1 mark as well. A standard Rubik's Cube has a side length of 5.6 centimeters long on each side. Draw a diagram of the Rubik's Cube. Hit, you don't need to label the color and draw it as a 3 by 3. Okay. So it's pretty obvious. All you need to do is just draw a cube. So if you just draw a cube, you're fine. Now, as long as it looks close enough to a cube, that's all I could ask for. Okay. You don't need to make it dead set accurate. Obviously, the more accurate, the better. Okay. And let's see here. Let's go that way. It's gonna go that way. Go straight line down. Go that way. And then we're gonna go this way. Just like that. So something like that is good enough, okay? That's all you need to do. That's 1 mark right there. Oh, did I forget something here? Oh, I skipped a part. Oh, my bad. Okay, part B. If the prism is filled with water, how many liters does it hold? Okay, so now we're talking about the capacity. Okay, so we already know what the volume is. So the volume is, so we know volume equals to 36 meters cubed. So you need to use one of your special conversions. So we just got to find it. Okay. So we know the conversion here is that for every 1000 liters, or like we know that, that means we know that for every 1 meter cube, that's the equivalent to 1000 liters. Okay. So if we have 36 meters cubed here, that means 36 meters cubed. You got to find out how much this is in liters. It's pretty obvious to do. All you need to do is just all you need to do is just multiply 36 by 1000, which equals to, let's just double check on our calculator, 36,000 liters. Okay. So it will be 1 mark. Let's see here. Where would the 1 mark come from? It'd be 1 mark for the answer, most definitely. And it'd be 1 mark just recognizing this conversion here. Okay. And you already know this one already. How many faces does a Rubik's Cube have? All right. So if you have a look at your diagram, if you have a look at your diagram, your face is just the 2D shapes that make up the 3D object, yeah? So as you can see, I've got one face on the side, one face at the back, one face at the front, one face at the top, one face at the left side, and one face at the bottom. Now, if you count them all up, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means there's six, okay? There's six faces, okay? Six faces. Pretty obvious. Calculate the total surface area of this Rubik's Cube. Now, I believe there's a formula that I taught you talking about the surface area of a cube. So if we just find it, here we go. It's right here. So the total surface area is when you add up all the areas in the faces. So there's this formula here. A is equal to 6L squared. So this will be A is equal to 6L squared. And since we're already given what L is, because it tells us that L is 5.6 centimeters long, the side length of it. So we know this is going to be times 5.6 squared. And if we type that in our calculator, gives me 188.16 centimeters squared. So that means the total surface area of a Rubik's Cube is 188.16 centimeters. One mark for formula, and then obviously if you get the right answer, yeah. Find the capacity in milliliters of a cylinder with radius 4.4 centimeters and height of 10 centimeters, round to 2. So, if you don't remember, I just last taught you in this video about volume of a cylinder. Okay, this is the formula for it here, highlighted. V is equal to pi r squared times h. Okay, so let's just start off by writing it down. So V is equal to pi r squared h. Now we're given radius already, we're given the height already. Let's just substitute these values in. Gives me 160 pi, which is 502.64 centimeters cubed. So this is volume right here. Now we need to convert this into milliliters, okay? So we need to go from centimeters cubed to milliliters now. So let's just double check in our reference sheet. There was a conversion. So here we go. So for this is our conversion here, listed at the top. So for every 1 milliliter, it equals to 1 centimeter cubed, okay? So that means for every 1 centimeter cubed, that's equivalent to 1 milliliter. So if we do that direct conversion, that means capacity equals to 502.64 milliliters. Okay, that's it. And that's the end of this test right here. Okay, good luck. Have fun. I'll see you all on Tuesday for one last revision lesson, and then the test will be on Wednesday. Okay.